Hello everybody out there, this is Utsa Singh from Smart Tech, and today I'm just going to set up the materials for the landscape that we imported into UE4 in the part 2. Okay, so if you remember, we have applied the master material to our landscape, which is currently black by default. Okay, so we can see that our landscape is very detailed and it looks good. Okay, so we covered this in part 1. Okay, and if you remember, we subtracted the flow map, and these lines that you can see have been caused by that, and it looks good. So what you want to do is open up your, actually first I want to have three elements in this landscape. That is a grass layer, that is a green layer, and then a sand layer. Actually, at the base, a rock layer. Up above that is going to be a sand layer, and above that is going to be a grass layer. Okay, so I have covered this kind of a material in my advanced landscape creation series, but I have recently tried out a much more simpler and simplistic way of doing that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is right click and create a material function, and I'm going to name this rock. Let me just open this rock, and it is opened. Now it is going to function. It needs a input. Okay, so just create a make material attributes node. Okay, now what you want to do for tiling purposes, tiling is the repetition of the texture in the landscape. What you want to do is right click and search for landscape layer coords. Okay, landscape layer coordinates, mapping scale to something like 50, no sorry, 30. 30 will do, 30 should do. I'm just going to create a very basic material function, and for that I'm just going to, actually, you know what? I'm just going to use some preset material functions that we have. Actually, just cancel this. Make sure this is open, and I asked you people to add starter content, and that is important because I'm going to use starter content in this one, and I'm going to search for basalt. M underscore rock underscore basalt. Just Control A to select all, Control C to copy, just drag this back a bit, Control V to paste, and we have our basic landscape in here. Now we are still going to use the landscape layer chords because this is a landscape material and we are going to need that. So this defines my roughness. Okay, this will be, this shall go into my base color, and you can also watch my advanced landscape creation series of the forest series. Both cover landscapes, and I also have a simple landscape creation series, just a beginner level. Actually, it is not a series, it is one basic video. So it also covers that stuff. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to add my landscape layer quads. Now I don't want to use those multiplies right now. What I want is to get all these inputs that are in here. Actually, I don't want to multiply at all. I just want to hold control and put these inputs in here, and well, again, what I want to do is it is being multiplied by some value. Still, I'll just, since I'm creating a basic thing, I'll just put it in here. Now, the guy who created this is actually altering the value by multiplying it by 0.25 in one case and 0.35 to get far tiling and stuff like that. And just delete this one. Oh, actually, you have to select it all. Okay, so my landscape layer code is here. I'll just copy it. I'll close my rock basalt and apply. Just simple. Okay, so what I want now is I want to go to, and this time again go to my starter content, search for grass. Okay, m underscore ground underscore grass. Now I'll just click browse, right click, materials and textures, material function, grass, open it up. Again, just paste this stuff. Actually, just go ahead and select it all, copy, paste. And again, what you want to do is just, this is my landscape report in here. What is gonna be what? This is my normal, right? This is my roughness, and this is my base color. Make material attributes. It serves as my roughness, and my normal comes from in here. Okay, so the output of this will go in there. So this output result will be like, if this is a material function, there will be a pin out of which I can get these material attributes. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Now this is a much simpler one. In this case, base color, texture samples, same UV codes used, and put this in here. 30 again, and press apply. So I've got my rock and I have my grass. What I want is my sand, and I'm going to go ahead and search for, and in here it doesn't have a sand, it has sandstone. Just open it up. Again, press browse, right click, material and textures, material function, sand. And first I'm going to save all. UE4 tends to crash a lot. I'm going to close my ground grass. Okay, I'm going to select all of this sandstone. I'm copying it, and again just paste it right now. I've got this stuff, roughness, normal, and this is my base color. So make material attributes, right? Alpha of base color, normal will go somewhere around, just scroll out and scroll in to do this. Okay, put this into my output, and again I'm gonna have to create a landscape layer code. Just what you want to do is right click, landscape layer codes, but hold control and put those two in here, and just let me drag this out a bit and select these and delete. Again, landscapes use landscape layer codes, that is why I'm using landscape layer codes. If I was creating any normal material, those texture coordinates would have worked well. Let me just open my master now. So I'm not going to break the elements and individually create the base color. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to blend between base color individually or roughness. I'm just going to take all those material attributes and I'm going to blend them together, and I'm going to put this into the master. But as you can see, it doesn't have a material attribute input here. What you want to do is go to your material properties and select use material attributes. Now material attributes option is in here. Okay, so just hold these three and just press F. You're gonna have to do those two and rock and one other, sorry. Now what you want to do is actually just right click and search for blend standard, matte layer blend underscore standard. So on the base is gonna be my rock, and on top of that I'm going to add my sand. So based on what value, if I just do this right now, it will have like half will be the bottom half should be rock, and above that should be sand. And that is not what I exactly want. I want more control over it. So that is what alpha does. Alpha is like the third value based on which these two second values um, will be blended. So my alpha will be world align blend. So world align blend is basically going to, and there is one thing you need to do. We also have normal inputs in these materials, right? So what you want to do is hold control and put this into with explicit normals, or else it would give me a error. Okay, so what you want to do is I'm going to use these two values. So sharpness will be like where the rock and sand meet, the sharpness of that blend between those, okay? And bias will control the where those two meet. Like if half is rock and above half is sand, I mean bottom half rock and above half sand, if I increase the bias, rock will be more and sand will be less. Sand will only cover the top area a bit. So hold this, just hold and left click S to create scalar parameters that we can expose in the material instance, right? So name it rock and sand sharpness, and I'm going to name it, 12. And in my bias, rock and sand underscore, wait, let me see it, sand underscore bias. Now the bias will, I will just leave it at 0. Actually I will do something like 9.3 will do, right? Or 9.5, 10, whatever you want to do. So again, what I want to do is just copy this stuff. Just hold these by pressing Ctrl and press Ctrl W to create new one. So in this case, my top material will be my grass and base will be this. So I'm going to say that the base is my rock. Above that I have added sand in here. Then I'm going to use this sand and rock blend as a base, and above the sand I'm going to add grass. Okay, so in this case, rock, grass sharpness, grass underscore bias. Okay, so all is well in here. What I want to do now is just create one basic thing, and that is a landscape layer blend. Just drag out from here and landscape layer blend. So this will allow me to say the landscape layer blend will serve as a layer so that I can see that layer on my landscape, this material on my landscape. And if you want to create any other layers, you can create and paint them. I'm just going to create one and name it base. What do I want to name it? Base color, and make sure there is no space between those two, because we won't accept it. Height blend. So I'll just explain these. Weight blend is basically the most simplistic blend, and alpha blend is something like if you have let's just say grass as your base, you paint snow above that. So when you remove the snow, grass will be still underneath it. Okay, and the height is basically, let's just say, height is a more complex blending between two materials. Like if I paint rock and I paint sand, if I use weight blend, there will be a complete crease between them. In the height, I will put in a grayscale value that would be used as a mask to create a more complex blending between those two. So I'm just gonna do it weight blend, because I don't have any other layer that I want to blend in between. So I'm just going to press apply. Oh boy, I want to do one more thing to it and I forgot to do it. Ignore that. Preview weight 1, because preview weight sometimes before starts to bug out, and preview weight is something like um, in this preview, it would, in the preview weight 1 means all the preview sphere, all this, the whole preview sphere will be dominated by this layer. You would be able to see it clearly. Now if I have dirt layer, I do 0.5 and the dirt will be showing through my base layer and it will look awesome. Just apply this and it should be real quick, should not take much time. Now as you can see, I have this here. The values are pretty messed up right now. We will just fix it, no problem. Now what I want to do is first save all. Now most of the stuff is already complete. Compiling shaders. What I want to do is create an instance and put this into my landscape material. How many minutes has it been? 14 minutes. Big enough. Cool. Okay, so what do we have here? Now what I want to do is right click at my master and create a material instance, and just drag this material instance in here. Make sure landscape is selected. Okay, so what you want to do is go to a landscape. It would still be black. Let the shaders compile. I'll show you. Yes, as you can see it is complete pitch black, not even that kind of glossy black that you used to have. It is black because there is no landscape layer data. That is, where is this, the layer blend that we created, the layer color layer base color, where to apply that? It doesn't know about it. So what you want to do is create weight blended layer. So weight blended layer, every pixel in this case will, if I use a weight blended layer, and if I have like dirt layer and base layer and I paint both of them according the two strength that I use, every pixel will have a value from 255, a max value of 255. So like base color, if it covers half, it would take like 125, I guess. No, sorry, just 127.5, something like that. So 127.5 my base color will take, and 127.5 value will go to my dirt. Okay, so my dirt and base color will have half the value, and non-weight blended layer are those that just go over it, like a puddle of water will just go over my base color. Okay, so I'm going to use a weight blended layer, and it will ask you to create a new folder. Just create it, doesn't matter, and you will see a new folder called main shared assets in here. Now as you can see, it has started to compile the shaders. I'm just going to let it compile for a while. Till then, open up your master instance. I'm just going to close the master for now. Now I want to edit these values. So these color parameters were already in the grass one, and it is cool. So grass bias, I'm going to decrease. Now as you can see, it has started to move up. I'm just going to move this way up. Now as you can see, this smoothness that I have, if I increase the sharpness, the edge sharpness will also increase. So create this smooth like that. Okay, and again my sandstone, I'm gonna have to decrease it so that it covers only a minuscule part of it, of one landscape, and rest will be rock, and don't worry, it will look good in no time. Now as you can see, my directional light is blinding me. What I want to do is set this to 6, and it looks good right now. Okay, so well, I have this looking pretty awesome, right? How's this looking? Now as you can see, grass, and at these edges I have a little bit of the sand, and that is giving quality to it. Now in my first part I decreased the fractal breakup so that there is not a lot of it, and it has prevented that from happening, and it looks good. Now if I had fractal breakup, it would go something like, it would be too noisy, there will be too steep ups and downs, and that will totally break the look of it, right? So now I'm just going to work on the atmosphere of this whole scene. So first thing, I'm going to add an exponential height fog. I'll just show you what that does. Just go to your playlist modes actually, and search for exponential, wow, exponential height fog, this one. Drag it into a scene. Now there's one functionality that I've noticed not many people know it, they just drag it in here. The exponential height fog will actually affect your scene based on its own height. So as you can see, if I go to my base in here, it is looking good this way as well. I want to increase my height a bit, okay, and I want to decrease the density just a little bit. Okay, so I have this fog looking pretty okay. I'm not gonna worry a lot about it. Turn on the volumetric fog. The scattering distribution controls the scattering phase, how much incoming light scatters in all direction. Now in the light direction or in all direction. I think I will go with all. Actually, you could use the simple value of 0.2. Extension scales the height for amount used by the so it like the absorption of light by the fog. Okay, so you can see that color. it, it will change just a little bit in this case because my light is not too intense and I don't want it to be. Static light scattering, because I have a static light, you can change that. I'm going to increase my view distance. View distance basically covers the view distance, how far you in the volumetric fog is computed. As you can see, the effect of my fog, volumetric fog scattering distribution, I'm going to turn it up. And now what do I want to do? If I change this, now you can see that edge color is being changed, because in my override colors I can put this on and again do this. I can adjust those values. Okay, so I have this. Basically I want to add a post-processing volume, so this is very small. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna scroll down and check infinite extent, so it doesn't matter the size, it would affect my whole scene. Global, saturation and contrast. Saturation, I'm going to do first, I'm going to disable my exponential height fog, and 1.2 will be my saturation, and my contrast I think will be something like 1.3. Yes, that should look bright and awesome. Cool. So let's just say I want my scene to be a little bit more bright. Now, as you can see, the fog is not too much, neither is it too less, so I want to increase my height a bit. So it is being affected. No, that is way too much, exorbitantly high. I don't want that, do I? So exponential height fog. If you want to change the height value, you can do fog height fall off. Controls how much. A value of this should be enough, right? So it is affecting my whole scene there. And what I want to do is add just something. Where's my directional light? And if I rotate it in here, something like that, is it okay? No. Just a tad. Nope, still no. Looking good. This way, doesn't matter. I could smoothen this out. Either way, even if you use full machine, you're absolutely gonna have to some way or another, you're gonna have to smoothen it out. Brush fall off set to 0. I want to, wow, painting restriction. Oh, this is paint, sorry. Sculpt, flatten maybe. Yes, I'll just flatten it here. Maybe. Cool, doesn't matter. Just a small part of the landscape, right? It is actually quite big. Now I'll just go to my manage, just go to my mode so that I can edit my post-process volume. And after this, you can go ahead and change the tint color. Don't go over high, just a little bit of the tint there, just a warm blue or green, something in between those two shades, right? And for my bloom, in the lens bloom method, intensity threshold, so I'm just going to increase the intensity or decrease it, just go to my default and increase it just a tad. Okay, threshold, the amount just a little bit, This is looking pretty simple, I guess. So I've got my atmospheric fog here. I could go here, center scale, increase it a bit to give me a little bit more realism. Start distance, I can change that. Altitude scale. These are some values that you will need to adjust to create a very good atmosphere. Fog multiplier, multiply this fog. Sun multiplier will multiply the sun. You don't want to do that, seriously. Okay, so as you can see here, it is rising up here. I've got this rise and this stuff looks good. I'll just save selected, and if I go to my test, this is one thing. I created this before I started the series, when I was actually experimenting with UE4. I mean UE4 and World Machine. Just let it open. The lighting and the landscape is pretty similar, just a little bit difference. Not a lot, shouldn't take a lot of time to open. So is it slowing it down? No, it isn't. Now, as you can see, my height. Now, in this case, I have baked the lighting. In that, it is just simple. It is just simple, direction light, nothing a lot. My fog density, I have not played my fog height fall off, so when I go up here, it looks pretty normal. Now I was talking about this fractal breakup, too much breakup. I decreased these values in the starting of in the first video of this series, so this has not happened in our case. Okay, so no worries about that. Fog and scattering color now 0.9 extinction scale. We'll cover my extinction scale, right? So what I have here in my post-process volume, my intensity just a little bit up, and contrast 1.2 and saturation 1.3. I've not adjusted any other value, and I'll just show you the differences. Actually, I don't want to save it, do I? 1.2 and 1.3. So I will go in here. If I go and do increase my bloom, something like that, so that it doesn't hurt the eye and it still looks good. 1.2, actually you want to 1.3 and 1.2, right? And my exponential height fog, I'll just let it stay there. This also looks good, but there is still, if I go ahead and go to my stationery, this area will be pitch black. So when I build it, it would be there. So what I want to do is add in skylight. So as you can see, and by the way, if you want a little bit of the sand to show through, what you could do is increase this value. So we have got sand showing through as well. Maybe I think I will go with this, or maybe just decrease this a bit. Now that is looking a lot better, right? My lighting is done. I can change this in scattering color by going to my exponential height fog and directional in scattering. I can do something like that, and if I increase or decrease these values according to my will, I can adjust that as well. Direction is start distance, I think I will go with that. My color will be something, let's see, okay, do I want it to be that bright? Something doesn't matter, just like that. Okay, so now as you can see, oh wow, damn, it is being multiplied in my fog. Okay, so my fog will increase that effect, but as I move out of the fog will increase the effect because of the in scattering. Okay, so as I move out of the fog, it will be much better. And in the fog, like nature does it, it is being scattered based on a color. Now as you can see, the sky blend here, or well, as you can see, we are done. So I'll just, and you could do something like you could go and make some custom water shaders, add water in here to make it look even better. I'm going to do a speed build, speed level design soon enough. It is going to be 3 islands and 1 mainland, and it is going to be fun for me. So I'm just going to say, well, you could do, I'm using, make sure this is to stationary or static. You could do static, I'll do stationary, and I'm going to build my lighting quality, production, and build lighting only. Okay guys, so make sure, if you guys like this video, press the like button. If you didn't, you know which button to press, and make sure to share this video to get so that the popularity increases, and make sure to press the subscribe button to get notified about my latest videos and the upcoming speed level design. Goodbye until next time.